Welcome back to the Manor. Julian McBain here, and we are back on the migration hunt. And as is typical, when I record, it is nighttime. The funny thing is it seems to be nighttime when I record at 2 in the afternoon, or at 6 at night, or at 9:30 at night, which is the time it is now on a Monday. I guess it's just my lot to always record an Entropia at night, which isn't bad because, I mean, this area is gorgeous at night, isn't it? Like, just look at that skyline. I really can't wait to see this region after it gets converted to UE5. I think that's going to be amazing. So I got a few things I want to talk about tonight, but before we get started, if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Manor. Please take a moment and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. Also, if you enjoy my work, please consider sharing this video to your social media. I have noticed that YouTube's algorithm is playing fuck games with me again, and they have decided to make it harder for people to see me. My subscriptions are back down to about where they were when I was doing the Julian McBain show. So if you would kindly consider sharing this video, I would appreciate it. That would be amazing. Okay, so tonight, the reason so it's Monday. This goes out on Wednesday, but it's Monday when I record it. And the reason I'm recording it at 9:30, because usually I don't do regular recording at this time. The only time I'm doing work this late is when I'm doing my live streams, is because I had Lodge tonight. And for those of you who are new to the channel, my newest members of the Manor, I am a Freemason, which is the oldest fraternity, I believe, the oldest fraternity in existence. We're also the first or second oldest charitable organization in existence. We do numerous charities, the most famous of which is the Shriners Hospital. And if you didn't know, all Shriners are Freemasons. It's a prerequisite. You have to become a Freemason first, and then you can become a Shriner, which means that charity is very near and dear to my heart. It's one of the core pieces of being a Freemason is charity. And I was raised so where one of the core tenets of my life and my family is doing charity. And so I was thinking about it because a lot of civic organizations are shrinking. And I know part of the reason is because in a lot of ways, the age of the classical civic organization has ended. And I think that's a bad thing. I want to see them come back. And I really hope that it does not mean the end for this ancient institution of which I am a member. Because today, more than ever, charitable organizations are desperately necessary. You know, learning volunteerism is desperately necessary. So, like, in the Freemasons, we have a number of appendant bodies, we call them. So you've got the Freemasons, which is the core body, and then you have the Shriners, which is an appendant body. They also have the Knights Templar, whose charity is the Templar Eye Foundation, which focuses on pediatric eye treatments. You have the Scottish Rite, which has its own charity, which unfortunately slips my mind at the moment. There's also the Order of the Eastern Star, which Freemasonry is a true fraternity in the sense of the term that it's all men. The Order of the Eastern Star is the same thing, but it's all women. It's technically co-ed due to some very, very old traditions. You're not going to find any men there. Or if you do, it's usually they're brought over to the Freemasons very, very quickly. And the reason for this, so the way it's been told to me is this. In the old days, right, back when things were not nearly as informed as they are now, women had to be supervised, which is stupid, I know, but that's the way it was because people were dumb back then. We're talking like in the 1600s. So, you know, they still believe that the best way to avoid the Black Plague was to not take a bath back then. So take it with that in mind. Freemasons have always been not ones to accept things as they are. So you know, if the Masons were like, well, our wives and daughters want to take part in the works, but they can't because the law. And so, in order to get around that, they formed the Order of the Eastern Star. And so, they always had a quote unquote Mason supervisor, who basically it was usually the father or brother or husband of a couple of the women in the Eastern Star group. And they'd show up and say, "Yup, we are supervising. We're going to go outside and have a drink and a smoke, and you ladies do your thing." Because then they were following the letter of the law while thumbing their nose at it simultaneously. But anyway, it's pretty much how the Prince Hall Freemasonry came about too. So anyway, so what we have are we have these organizations, and they're all charitable. And I think we need more of it. I think we've lost something by not having these organizations. And I think the reason that I understand the reason that it's going away, and I believe I understand the reason that they really need to make a resurgence. Whether it's Masonry and Eastern Star, or it's the more co-ed groups, like I think the Elks is technically co-ed, or even being a Rotarian. Okay, I'm pretty sure the biggest competition we have for charitable works is the Rotary Club. For sheer volume of charitable work. I personally believe we need to go back to, joining civic organizations on a regular basis. Make this normal again. In today's day and age, because of the wide variety of entertainment, all of the things that you can do. Hell, yesterday I couldn't have practice, so I dove into VR for a couple of hours, and I slashed at virtual monsters. And then I played Job Simulator, and I worked at the most I swear to God, if someone said design a restaurant, but you've got to do it while you're on psychedelics, that would be the result. The result would be that game. Okay? It's like, take a job and then try to come up with what the job is like, but you have to take psychedelics first. That's Job Simulator. If someone told me they were on mushrooms when they did it, I'd believe them. It's an awesome game, don't get me wrong, but when I look at it, that's what I think. So I really think we need to bring these back, because they do certain things that nothing else actually does, right? And for a lot of these groups, they're a-religious. So as far as I know, you don't need to be in any sort of a religion or faith to be a Rotarian. Freemasons, you at least have to be a person of faith. No specific faith, but a person of faith. So you can't be an atheist. That's pretty much the only rule. And so by bringing these back, it does a number of things. One, by having people work and do charitable work and be volunteers, it reduces the strain on government programs that are there to help the needy. And it really does, because it provides people the opportunity to receive help from volunteers, as opposed to from bureaucrats, essentially. And I'm not downplaying the work that is done by state welfare departments. I'm not doing that. But imagine if even 10% of their work was taken off their plates. How many more people could be helped? And that once was the job, and before welfare existed, that was the job of these charitable organizations. And they weren't perfect, but they were good at it. And we still are. We try our best, but a couple of things are necessary for that to happen. One is membership. Membership's dying. I think that the organization I'm a part of is doing a little better than perhaps the average, but it's all relative. Even if we're doing 10% better, 10% is not a lot. But I think those membership organizations, because you do the volunteerism, because you get in there and you learn things and you enjoy it. There's also the fellowship aspect. I am in Freemasonry, you are brothers, and we treat each other as such. And so I have made, oh, nice, global for 104 ped. That's probably the nicest global I've gotten in a long time. I have made lifelong friendships in the Freemasons. I have found people I was lifelong friends with that I did not know were members of the lodge prior to becoming a member. In fact, I have a friend that I'm in my medieval group with. When I petitioned to join the lodge, because in the medieval group, you know, I'm known as Julian in the medieval group. I use my real name in the lodge. He was scratching his head as my application was going. He's like, "Oh, I know who that is," and and because of that, we actually got closer than we possibly would have had we only interacted in the medieval group. And his wife chuckles about it all the time. Because whenever we're together, especially in the medieval group, we'll make mischief together, and she's like, "Oh, your brother's through and through." And I truly believe that those lifelong friendships would only be cultivated in that manner. Because other things that actually, one thing I think that's showing a resurgence is church membership. As the pandemic goes away, I've seen that there is a resurgence in such things, and I think that church membership is going up, and I'm really hoping to see these civic organization memberships go up. Because one of the things about being locked away, the way we were locked away, is that we couldn't do anything. We couldn't go anywhere. We needed connections. And I think that those of us who were in these organizations had an easier time of it. Doesn't mean it was easy. It certainly does not mean it was easy. But I think those connections helped, and we were there to help each other. And I think people recognize that. Because they have... I'm sure that if you have a family that's larger than 3 people, someone in your family is a member of some sort of a civic organization. Maybe it's an uncle. Maybe it's a grandfather. My great uncle is a Shriner. Never knew it until I became a Mason. Which I should have figured it out. There's only Shriner shit all over his house. But, Shriner, I shouldn't say shit. Shriner symbology all over his house. But I didn't know he was a Shriner. Never would have guessed. He's a Shriner, which means he's a Mason. And he was delighted when he found out that I had joined the order. And so there is someone in your family that is a member of some sort of a civic organization. It is always worth finding out who and what it is and what they stand for. Because maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's not for you. And you know what? That's legit. Maybe you don't have the time. In today's day and age, that's not surprising. But sometimes it's worth making the time. And I'm not necessarily saying that, you know, you all should go out and sign petitions to become Masons or become Shriners or whatever. But do something. You know? There are dozens of civic organizations out there, from the local to the religious to national size to international. You know, if you're a doctor, and I don't even think they require a particular religious affinity. You've got the Knights of Malta. They were the Knights of Malta were the Knights Hospitaller. They were doctors who were also knights, and they went out and they cared for the hurt and the sick. They still exist in their original form. They're the only sovereign order still left. You've got the Rotary Club. You've got the Knights of Columbus, which is a Catholic organization. You've got the Freemasons and all of our appendant bodies. The Order of the Eastern Star. I'm trying to think of other charitable organizations I can think of off the top of my head, because like you've got the Elks and the Moose, but those I believe are more social fraternities, which I think are also both co-ed. But I'm thinking more civic-minded organizations. I could be wrong about that. So if there's an elk or a moose in my that watches my channel, please educate me if I am incorrect. You got the Oddfellows. So you've got all of these different organizations out there, and I know I'm missing dozens of them. If you know of one, drop it in the chat, or not in the chat. Drop it in the comments, and then consider, what do you do in your free time? Would it be worth sacrificing just a little bit of free time for the enrichment you get by being a member of just one of these various organizations? Because I'm here to tell you, my life got richer when I became a Freemason. I truly believe that. I look forward to going to Lodge every third Monday of the month. And in fact, I'm joining Independent Body. I've requested a petition to join Independent Body. And I am going to join... I will be on the track to become a Knights Templar, a Masonic Knights Templar. We're not the Sovereign Order of Knights Templar, it's the Masonic Knights Templar, which are not a successor to the original. They aim to embody the spirit of the original, I believe is how it was described to me. Hell, if you're not into the more classic ones, join the Civil Air Patrol. They do search and rescue. Go on an adventure. I was a member of CAP for years. It was one of the best experiences of my life. Now that my son is over the age of 12, he's 13, I've seriously considered going back. One, to get my pilot's license back in order, since I haven't logged a single hour behind the yoke in 12 years, but also because I really enjoyed the work. You go out on a mountain and you search for the emergency locator transmitter of an aircraft, but you're out there on a mountain and you're climbing and you're enjoying the outdoors and you're hiking and you're doing the thing, and if it's real, then you're helping people. It also helps with the Civil Air Patrol once you get up in rank, because they use it's the Air Force Auxiliary, so they use a military officer's ranking system, but it's separate from the normal chain of command. And it's a civilian corporate. It's interesting. Look it up. Go look it up. The wiki can probably explain it better than I can, or visit your local squadron. Many places have squadrons local to them, and they're all over the U.S. You have access to Air University for free. It's limited, not the same as if you're in the Air Force, but you can attend the community college of the Air Force for free. Last I checked, now keep in mind I have not been a member in a decade, so this might have changed, but last I checked, that is still the truth. But I was looking forward to making it to the point where I could go to Air War College, because you can do that once you're at the right level. Yeah, you heard that correctly. You can go to Air War College as a member of the Civil Air Patrol, which was always a goal in my mind. I never got there. Or alternatively, if you prefer the water to the air, join the Coast Guard Auxiliary. And it's similar. There are definite differences, but you get maritime qualifications. You can actually become a coxswain, which is a non-commissioned commander of a boat. So, and this is one where I have a group of friends in the medieval group, and they replicate a ship, and due to some modern versus not one of these guys, modern versus ancient interpretations, they've named their bosun the chief as opposed to the quartermaster of their little privateer boat. But that's their thing, you know. They can do whatever they want. But the bosun commands the enlisted folk in doing the work of the boat under the command of the captain, whereas the coxswain is the commander of the boat and on a boat where it doesn't have a captain. Every boat has to have a captain, quote unquote, but in a military organization, the captain can only be a commissioned officer. Therefore, an enlisted person that is capable of taking command of a boat is called a coxswain. If I'm getting my facts correctly. If there's a member of the Coast Guard that watches this, or the Navy, correct me if I'm wrong, please. I hate getting information incorrectly, and I would love to be corrected if I'm incorrect. I think I got that correctly. So, if I've got a sailor of any sort, whether you're a squid or a Coast Guardsman, correct me if I'm incorrect. Please fact check me on that. But I think I got the order correct on that. This is why I'm a flyboy, or I was a flyboy, and not a squid. Even though I really like boats, I love boating, I can't swim, which is why you won't find me on a boat. Well, I can swim, just not very well. That's why I'm a ground pounder. You son of a bitch. I did not volunteer for naval militia. That is for damn sure. Anyway. Oh, that's another one. 26 states have a state defense force. If you are military minded, you know, maybe you mustered out, maybe you are non-prior service, some states allow that, and you want to serve, it'll be in a non-combat capacity, maybe you have a skill. If you have a state defense force, consider volunteering. And yes, I know the irony of a libertarian saying volunteer for your local state or for your state military organization might sound a little wrong-headed, but I'm serious. It can be very rewarding. Now, I've been a member of the Vermont State Guard since I came back from North Dakota. I was a member before I left. Due to circumstance, I am considering mustering out. But I've enjoyed every moment I have been in the State Guard. I have made lifelong friendships there. One of those actually outlived me recently. Or I outlived one of them recently, I should say. They didn't outlive me. I'm sitting here talking on a microphone. My immediate supervisor, before my unit got consolidated, passed away, not of COVID. And I'd known him for years. But those are the sorts of connections you make. Like, he popped in where I work one day because I didn't know he was one of our customers. I didn't know it. And we sat there for almost 2 hours just chatting, which wasn't a big deal because, there was nothing else going on. We just sat there and chatted. It was that kind of a thing. Global 62. Holy crap. Thank you, Mindark. You're making this a great video tonight. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people today are not the type to want to join things, and that I can understand that. It's like we all have busy lives, we all want to do our own thing. And that doesn't mean you have to join a whole bunch of groups. Like, I'm a member of the Freemasons. I'm a member of the Society for Creative Anachronism. I'm a member of the Vermont State Guard. Which, again, isn't strictly a civic organization, but the way a lot of state defense forces work, it's global number 3 for 51 ped. Oh my god. That's awesome. Oh, Jesus. I haven't had this many globals in a while. That is amazing. Holy buckets. I'm going home with more ammo than I started. And it's pretty much what it's been. It's been all ammunition, which I am totally cool with. Anyway, as you reopen, again, I know some places are still locked down, some are going back into lockdown. I'm really sorry about that, guys. Frankly speaking, I think that it's kind of dumb if they're locking you back down, but that's my opinion. There, I just got deranked because of that. Thank you, YouTube. As things open back up, look around you. Find something that you believe in and find out who does it and consider joining them. They can always use the help. And you know, if you're of a mind, if the idea of masonry tickles you, consider becoming a Mason or a member of the Order of the Eastern Star. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. And as always, I really appreciate the support, and we'll see you in the next one.